Duelists! Welcome back to a new video. Yesterday, I went to my first One Piece TCG locals. For those who don't know, One Piece is a upcoming, I wouldn't say upcoming, it's a really popular trading card game right now. It's taken the world by storm, and it features some of your favorite characters from the One Piece anime, including Luffy. And I went to my first locals. Typically, I've been playing this game for fun, and most of you guys know, if you guys don't, I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player. I mainly play Yu-Gi-Oh, which is a very competitive and compelling game. And going from that to this is very different. I realized that One Piece is it's a lot simpler than Yu-Gi-Oh, which means you're going to attract more casual people, which means you're going to get more chill people. Compared to the Yu-Gi-Oh locals I usually go to, it was definitely not as intense for new people, and it was definitely just a lot more chill. I mean, of course, you're going to get some of the meta sheep and people wanting the packs, but I had a really good time even for going, not doing so hot. So today, I want to give my deck profile for the deck and for Kuzan. I played Kuzan. So yeah, I played Kuzan in OP13. And for those who don't know or or this is in the future, OP13 is the carrying on his will format, which is basically including, it's basically a triangle format, including green Zoro, red blue Ace, and black Emu. These are the three best decks in the format. And the weirdest part about this format, and I think it's one of the most unique ones in One Piece actually, the most unique part about this format is those three decks all lose to different cards. So it's a very difficult deck to really build for casual or just lower tier decks, because you have to build your deck to beat specific decks, and there's very specific outs that some decks just can't play. The reason I played Kuzan is, well, I mainly just like Kuzan from the anime, but Kuzan is a blue deck, and blue deck has some of the best staples in the game. You have cards like, you have Pudding right here, you have Raging Tiger, and you have Red Rock. These are some of the most powerful blue cards in the game. So having access to these cards is actually really good, specifically for the Ace matchup. However, I think that's it. I think Kuzan is only decent into the Ace matchup. I think he does not that good. I think he does terrible I think he does terrible into Zoro, and then has a decent, it's definitely winning for Emu, but slightly winning for Emu. But I think Zoro is low-key impossible. I'm not really sure how to beat that deck. But yeah, I'm still learning the game. I know a decent amount about the game, but I'm still new to it. So, and obviously I just chose Kuzan because I like the character. So, and that's kind of how I play this game. I don't really play this game that competitively. I do the same thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually. I just choose decks that I enjoy and have an interesting deck building process. Those are typically the decks I chose. So, let me give you a run of the deck and then my matchups afterwards. So, of course, we have 4 copies of TCG and 4 copies of Sengoku. This is no surprise. Actually, I should probably go over what the leader does. Basically, Kuzan is a blue 5k 5-life leader, where every time I discard a card for a Navy effect, I draw a card. Most Navy cards discard a card to do something. So basically, I am filtering through my deck looking for cards to do certain actions. That's kind of the TLDR of the deck. It's very simple. Anyway, we're playing 4 copies of TCG, 4 copies of Sengoku. This is very standard. No one's ever going to play these. These are 2 of your very strong searches in the deck. I guess the one thing interesting to note is Sengoku you can only play on your second turn, whether you're going first or second. So it can sometimes be a little clunky, but it's a 1k, it's searcher, you have to play it. Fun fact too, people don't really know this. So you would think so basically, if I have an effect that discards something to do something, that means I'm going at positive, right? No, you are not. None of your cards actually go positive. They actually all go neutral. You're basically just replacing a card in your hand for another card. You're not actually going plus. You're just doing the effect. And most blue cards actually just do effects on their own. So the trade-off isn't that strong. I say this because Sengoku right here. Sengoku is one of the 2 cards in this deck that actually make you go plus, because you have to trash a card in order to search for 2 cards. So you're searching 2 cards and then you're trashing a card. The trash card gets replaced, and then we're actually going plus by adding 2 cards. So Sengoku is actually one of the only pluses in the deck. So this card's insane. This is one of the best cards in the deck. But yeah, you definitely play these 2. No questions about that. I'm on 2 Borsalinos. This is basically an unkillable 6k blocker. It's fine. I don't think this really matters that much. It's bad against Zoro. It's pretty mid against Ace. And it's pretty mid against Emu. So honestly, this card low-key might be cuttable. I think I mainly play this for like certain weird rogue matchups. But if I'm going to be completely honest, this card's kind of useless. I usually discard it. They were playing 2 copies of Pudding. Honestly, I might bump this card up to 3. This card's awesome. This card's great. It's one of the best. It's probably one of the best blue cards in the game. For those who don't know, it basically just cycles through their entire hand, and they have to they shuffle all their cards in the deck and then draw 5. Like it resets their whole hand. This is really good against decks that search a lot. So basically, every blue deck, you need this for the mirror. If you're playing against any other blue deck, you need Pudding to beat it. So with that out of the way, I'm playing this to be Ace. This card is really good against Ace. This deck typically wants to go second, which is really weird. But basically, you force the Ace to go first. They don't have they have a pretty good curve. The problem is their curve going first, they're going to be drawing a lot of cards. So if you just hard get Pudding, and then you Pudding them, and they lose all their advantage, their board's not going to be that impressive. The most impressive thing they're going to have on their board is what? Yamato, which is like a 6K. Like, you're kind of fine with that. Especially because you're going to see in a little bit, I am playing the Usopp build. So, Pudding is just insane. This card just beats so many good decks at search. To be honest, it's probably like the worst against Zoro specifically. But it's such a good card, you need to play it. And it's a 1K, so it doesn't have any like falter. Yeah, so next we're playing the Usopp build. Yes, so for those who don't know, Usopp is a 4-cost, 1K, 5K, 1K counter blue card. And basically, if you have 2 or less 5K power characters, you could summon a 6 or less no effect blank card from your hand. So basically, you pair it with, I'm choosing Ace here. I don't believe there's a Navy 5-cost, 6K, 2K counter blue blank. If there is, you would obviously replace it for this. But this is from the structure deck, so it was easy for me to get. But basically, if you open, you have to specifically open these 2. But you Ace on turn 2 or on turn 2 of either your turns, you play Usopp, which plays Ace. So for 1 card, you summon a 5K and a 6K swing. This is really good. I love this during Rayleigh format, Op 12 format with Rayleigh, and specifically, I still like it in this format. Being able to get a bunch of early swings is very strong for this deck. This deck doesn't do a whole lot for your 4 to 6 Dawn curve. You don't do a whole lot. Your only real play is Kuzan. And Kuzan doesn't really do anything. They don't have a good character on the board, which, spoiler alert, most of the decks right now don't really do that early on. So I feel like Usopp is honestly a really good tech and a really good, card to play during your 4 to 6 curve. I think it's really good. Obviously, it's annoying because you have to hard open Ace. There's a world you play more. There's other blanks you can play. I think there's like some kind of cross guild one. You could definitely play those. I just didn't want to play more cards that were bricky. Because at the end of the day, it is a 2K, and you could just discard it for your effects if you don't like it. Same with Usopp. But obviously, it's kind of bricky if you draw these. But again, my problem with this deck is there's not a lot of other cards to play. So, at least as of right now, I might change that. I think these are just good substitutes. I think these cards are actually really good and fun. It's good when you draw them. They're not when you don't. Crazy, right? Next, we're playing 4 copies of Suru. This card is just basically a 2K. On play, you could trash 2, and then your opponent bounces a card to their hand. Unfortunately, this is really bad because all the decks right now play low-cost characters. Most decks do. So unless you remove those, which I don't know how you're going to, you're playing Kuzan, they're just going to bounce their search into their hand, which is usually a 2K. So this card's honestly pretty mid. You're usually playing it because it's a 2K. Then we're playing Zeph. Again, it's a 2K. It's actually pretty good on the 5 Dawn curve because you can play this, trash 2, filter 2 bad cards in your hand, which is, could be an Usopp, could be a random Ace in there. And then during some other turn, you can bounce a 5 or less to your opponent's hand. So it's not the greatest, but it's not terrible. So, but I'm mainly playing these cards as 2Ks. That's pretty much it. They're useful 2Ks that are searchable. I actually have the order on here. I'm autistic. There I have 3 copies of Kuzan. This card's awesome. This is honestly my favorite card in the deck. Art-wise. Art-wise is my favorite card in the deck. Actual, gameplay-wise, it's probably Garb. Garb's awesome. But yeah, this card, when you have 5 or more cards in your hand, it gains 1 cost, which is good against Ace. And then on play, you could trash a card. One of your opponent's characters can attack next turn. Very good card. It basically stops an attack. And it's a 6 cost 8K. It's really good. That's searchable. My main problem with this card, if I'm going to be completely honest, is that it doesn't remove a body. It pretty much just stuns it, which isn't terrible. The problem is the character is still going to get unrested. So because of that, you can't attack it with your next turn. So if you freeze like a Yamato 6K Yamato, on the next turn, you can't attack it. So then on the following turn, it just attacks you again. And you don't have a real good way of removing it. So I feel like, don't get me wrong, Kuzan's good, but it doesn't remove the body, doesn't remove the problem. So I don't love this card. I feel like I feel like I might add a Jizo. Jizo actually removes the body. So that's like something I was considering. That's why I also have this card at 3, because I was drawing this card a lot. And it's like, at the end of the day, you definitely want to see your high costs. My counter argument to this, and I'm using Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm using Yu-Gi-Oh! Language here. But typically in Yu-Gi-Oh! You want to play cards, in Yu-Gi-Oh! You play 3 ofs of every card, right? Typically you want to play 3 ofs of every card of cards you want to see. That's why here, I'm playing 3 copies of TCG, 3 copies of Sengoku, 4 copies of Garp. 4 copies of all these cards. You're playing 4 copies of the cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! In One Piece. You're playing 4 copies of cards you want to see. And then beyond that, you have to decide if you're going to play certain cards, certain texts, based off those ratios. For instance, right, I'm only playing 2 pudding because I could go through a lot of my deck, I could filter through it if I really need pudding. And then, if I draw, cool, I could use it. But I don't need to play 4 of it because I'm going to filter through it and it's not good in every matchup. That's kind of how you do it. Similarly, that's why I'm playing like 2 Red Rock, 2 Raging Tiger, because I don't need these cards at all times, but obviously I need to see them enough, so I'm playing 2 copies of it. And another thing too is this only affects pretty much blue and black decks. But blue and black decks have to be a little different because, again, in blue decks, you're filtering through your deck a lot, so your math is actually a little different from when you're drawing cards. And then black can sometimes be a little different because black decks mill from the top of your deck. So for instance, right, you really shouldn't play 4 ofs of like high cost cards in black because you're gonna be milling those cards a lot when you really want to be drawing them. So blue and black have like different math when you are building your deck, which is why I think playing 3 Kuzan's fine because I won't be bricking on it as much and I still see it. When I was playing it at 4, I was bricking a lot. I was drawing this card a lot when I didn't need it, and I was just discarding it when it could have been a different useful card. Because pretty much the nice part of this deck is you filter through your deck very quickly, and you basically keep cards for different situations, which is why I really like this deck. You have a lot of different things you could do, and it's very adaptable. Then we're playing 4 copies of Sakazuki. This is probably... Oh, I don't know why that happened. This is probably the best card I never play. This card is insane. On play, it's a 7 cost AK. On play, draw 2 cards. This is, again, the other card in the deck that actually makes you go plus. This and Sengoku. This card's insane. It just gets you 2 free cards for free. It's awesome. And then it has another effect. Active main, trash a card, which means you filter 1 card to give a rested Dawn to your leader or character. This card is insane. There's a lot of early game red 1 cost cards that give free Dawn to your leader. Those cards are already really good. Imagine that on like a high cost card that's hard to remove in blue. This card's insane. This card gives you free attacks every turn. This is specifically really good into 6K leaders because against Roger, against Ace, Luffy, because if you play this, you'll be able to make Kuzan a 6K every turn to get extra swings. So like, this card's insane. I was playing the version of this card at 2. I don't know why. Dumbest decision of my life. Sakazuki is so good. I think it's honestly better than Kuzan, which is why I have it at 4. This card is insane. I love this card. Honestly, I hope it gets an all-art, if it doesn't already, because I love this card. Probably my 3rd favorite card in the deck. Then we have Garp. This is the heart and soul of the deck. Garp allows you to trash a card and then play an 8K or lower Navy card from your hand. So yeah, this lets you play any of your lower guys other than the Usops and the Puddings. But obviously, you can play Sakazuki usually. You're playing Kuzan, or you're going to play Aramaki. This is the heart and soul of the deck. This lets you play the game. This card's insane. This is why you also go second a lot, because playing this as early as possible is very, very strong. This card's insane. This is the whole bread and butter of the deck. And for the last of the Navy characters, we're playing Aramaki. I love this card. This card's great. It's an 8 cost AK that's a blocker, and then has an active main to return a 2 or less character on the board to the bottom of the deck, and then you trash a card to gain 3k. This card's insane. Being able to bottom deck low cost blockers is really strong. I know a lot of the decks aren't playing those, but it can be decent in certain matchups. Not to mention, it's a AK blocker. It's not bad. It forces your opponent to have a lot of attack power on their effects, which some decks just can't do. So having this, just honestly, it's really just a rogue matchup check. It's a very strong card. And then on top of that, you could sack off one of your cards at the very least, which is usually only going to be TCG because it's a 1 cost. But you can sack your TCG to make this an 11k, which is very, very strong. This is just 11k swing against any character. Like, sign me up. It's really good late game. It's really good to get game. Very strong card. I love it at 2. I never won it more or less. Final character we're playing is Monkey D. Luffy up here. This card I'm definitely going to get rid of. This card's not that good, to be honest. I was originally playing it because it's a rush card, and I feel like I needed something more powerful to push for game. But I realized a bunch of AK swings already is a lot of pressure, so I don't think I really need to play another one. Plus, it's only 8k rush, which it's not terrible, but it's definitely not like the greatest. All my other characters are AK, so I don't know why a rush one would be even more better. Not to mention, and this is probably the biggest reason why I'm cutting it, you can't garp into it, so because it's a straw hat. So like, it doesn't actually accomplish anything in your deck, so I think it's entirely fine to cut. Also, it's a 1-of, so you rarely see it. So I'm definitely going to cut this for something else. And then finally for the events, I'm playing 4 Pheasant Peck. This is a 1k counter, which it gives 4k. Then you trash a card, and then because you're leaderboard, you draw a card. So it's basically just a free 1k, a 4k counter. 4k counters in this game are really good. It's not for the turn, it's only for the battle. So it's not that broken, but it's still really good. It's searchable. I love, one of my favorite interactions with this deck is leaving Dawn active to bait out my opponent into not attacking because I have Pheasant Peck. It's very funny to do. It's definitely not like the greatest, obviously. It's a bluff, but it's a very funny bluff, which is another reason I love this. I love it in One Piece. And then finally, for the 4 events, we're playing 4 Red Rocks, 4 Raging Tigers. Nothing too surprising here. The only thing I will say is I am debating adding another Red Rock for Ace. This is really good against Ace. It's all right against Zoro, and it's terrible against Emu. But the reason it's not, I think I might bring it to 3 anyway, because you could just discard it against Emu. Like, it's not that big of a deal. That's why I really like this deck. You filter through your cards a lot, because you don't have to trash Navy cards. You can trash any card for all the effects. So it's just a really good way of filtering through your deck, and you just get to, it's very consistent. You get to pretty much whatever you want consistently. Honestly, the most inconsistent part about this deck is drawing your Red Rocks and your Raging Tigers when you need them. That's pretty much it. And then, yeah, this is the deck I'm playing. A couple changes I want to make. A couple of changes I want to make. Potentially adding another Red Rock. I could swap out Monkey D. Luffy for that. Also, I was recommended this. I should probably just play the 10 cost Whitebeards that Ace is playing. That card is a 10 cost 12k blocker. And on play, it gives 2 free Dawn, Rested Dawn, to a character and a leader. That's insane. That being my 10 drop is probably, I don't have a 10 drop in this deck already. That card just being a power play or a late game is probably really good. It gives my AK swings a lot more power to attack, which is really good against Roger specifically. And it's just a 12k blocker, so it's basically another, imagine that plus Aramaki. Like, it's going to be hard for your opponent to kill me. So I think adding 2 of those is probably the best bet for my deck. There's other blue generic cards the deck plays that just draw you cards, but it doesn't really synergize that well with Kuzan. So I think that's the best one to play. So that's definitely what I'm considering. Unfortunately, I would have to cut something for it. I could cut the Usopp cards because it does take up 8 extra slots in your deck. And I'm actually considering doing this. I really like these cards. I think they're cool. Unfortunately, it just comes with the consistency problem. You're not guaranteed to open both of these. And so it's just kind of hard to deal with. I don't really know if it's like really worth it or not. And also too, if we do cut Usopp and Ace, we'll have 8 extra slots to play with, which is a lot. To be honest though, I would want it to be engine cards that let you filter through your deck. and I don't really know what other cards I can play to do that. So I'm gonna have to, and it has to also too. I want it to be a 4 cost or 3 cost because I think cost wise we have enough of like each one. I want something 3 to 4 to 5, 3 to 5. I want something 3 to 5. That's like that's decent early on. I'm not really sure what to play if I was to do that, but that would pretty much just be the changes I'm making to the deck. Overall, let me go over my matchups now. For my first One Piece locals, I actually had a really good time. Really good time. My round 1 was Ace, which honestly was the closest game of all of them. I don't think I got donkey spanked. I generally think that's Kuzan's best matchup. I misplayed super hard. I played into Jozu really hard because you can't Jozu Kuzan if you have 5 or more cards in your hand. But I blocked an attack instead of tanking it, which made it so his Jozu had a lot of value. And then secondly, I forgot to pudding. And he whitebearded me. Biggest mistake of my life. But anyway, other than that, I misplayed that hard, and the match was still really close. So I think it's my best matchup and most doable matchup. My round 2 was Roger. He spanked me. I'm not even gonna lie. That deck is really hard to beat. The fact that his guy he was like, it's hard for my deck to consistently out bodies. It's possible. I have a bunch of AK swings, and I have a Red Rock to do it. My main issue is my guys are only AKs, and the Red Whitebeard, the Shanks, the Roger, they're all like 9-10Ks. So you need to commit more Dawn to even attack with your AKs, and then they're just gonna block it. They play a lot of block in that deck. So even with that, it's very difficult to actually get to clear the bodies. So I think Roger's actually a really difficult matchup for me. Like the curve for the AKs versus their cards just don't really work. You honestly, I mean, for me when I play against Roger, I just hope they brick because that deck does brick. But yeah, it's very irritating to be honest. Like there's not much I have to really win early game, which Kuzan doesn't really do. There's no like Kuzan's early game is not that good. And so it's just like I have to win early game and I can't. So it's kind of difficult. Sorry. My round 3, I lost that game. It wasn't that close to be honest. That deck was really hard to beat. Especially on Perfect Curve. My round 3 was RG Luffy. Really cool deck. I actually really like that deck. That is probably the next deck I'm going to build. That deck is really cool. And it definitely fits my playstyle. It's a very a passive deck, and I like passive decks. Also, it's red. I love red decks. But no, I beat the RG Luffy. Very cool deck. I definitely want to play it. And then my round 4 was Bonnie, and I got spanked. Again, at the end of the day, if you know something exists, it'll be a lot easier to play around, obviously. I did not know about the 9 cost yellow Bonnie Rush that takes a life. Didn't know that card, so I played pretty hard into it, and then I just lost, because that card is broken. That is the best card in that deck. Holy crap. But yeah, overall went 1-3. Honestly, I wasn't expecting much from my first locals experience. I was mainly going for the fun and just experience it versus a Yu-Gi-Oh local. And I can say with a big pump in my chest that yeah, One Piece locals is a lot more fun than Yu-Gi-Oh locals. Yu-Gi-Oh locals for me is very stressful. This was very fun, very chill. Everybody there was chill. No one there was annoying, and like it was just. I'm obviously it's different from local. But it's a lot less stressful because Yu-Gi-Oh is a very stressful game. It's a very a skill-intensive game. So when you go from that to One Piece, it's very chill, very mellow. Everybody there just have a good time. We're all opening boxes. We're all just there to have a good time. So that was kind of the One Piece versus Yu-Gi-Oh local experience. I had a really good time, and I definitely want to go to more. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my deck profile. I don't know if I'm gonna drop Kuzan. I love Kuzan as a character, so I'll probably continue playing him. It's a really fun deck, to be honest. And for those who are curious, the other decks I'm considering playing, I already have Shanks built. I have Usopp built. I have Koala built. I'm actually in the process of building it. I love Koala. And then I'm probably going to build RG Luffy. I love RG Luffy. That leader is so cool. And I'm going to make a different hybrid deck to have a really good time. So those are the decks I'm playing. So if you guys want to see deck profiles for that, let me know. And if you guys want to see more One Piece TCG content, let me know. I love One Piece. It's honestly a really fun game. I definitely like Yu-Gi-Oh more, obviously. This is mainly going to be a Yu-Gi-Oh channel. But I'm definitely not against uploading a One Piece video once in a while. So that's all I got for you today. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys all had a great holiday Thanksgiving. Hope you guys all did well if you celebrated that. And other than that, you'll have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll see you guys later.